Eventually I saw Jarvis and it looked really compelling. So I got it, and for 2 months I tried to use it and it didn't work out. It was duplicating content and it was more frustrating than not. Now Jarvis has 2 new updates that have changed everything. Show you some examples with the 2 updates. The first one I'm going to cover is the more obvious one, which is boss mode. From a user perspective, boss mode is where it takes and analyzes a lot more of your content so that it can produce an output that's a lot more to your liking. It works really, really well. Since it analyzes a lot more of your content, you're spending a lot less time kind of guiding Jarvis. You do still want to guide Jarvis along the way. It's kind of like having an assistant content creator. You're still going to need to give guidance here and there on things, but more often than not, in the previous version of Jarvis, I was spending a lot more frustrating time getting frustrated. With this more recent update with boss mode, I'm spending a lot of time having to guide, getting some great output that I can use right away. But still, you do need to guide Jarvis on the way. You're creating content with Jarvis. Now, to really get the power of boss mode, really want to jump into seeing it in use, and the best way to see that is with the second update. With Jarvis, you have a lot of commands you can give and shortcuts, and although they're really helpful when you're a new user, it can kind of get overwhelming to try to learn how to use all of them effectively so that you can have output right away. Recipes change all that because it actually puts all these commands in order for which you're going to want to create a recipe. Let me show you exactly how this works, and because of boss mode, it's able to produce a lot better content than usual. So let me show you recipes and show you how powerful it is to basically take and use a recipe as a brand new user and get some output right away. It basically means you can go and get the free trial, which is in a link down below, and have output, potentially have 5 blog posts created for you for free with Jarvis. I'm going to show you exactly how you could do this by using the power of recipes. When you're creating with Jarvis and you're in your document, you do have these pro tips here, and basically it shows you some keyboard shortcuts you're going to end up using pretty regularly. Then there's the boss mode commands. And the reason I'm showing you this is because it's one of the more effective ways to basically get Jarvis to write what you want Jarvis to write. So what happens is you've got, write some blog post titles about, write a blog post intro for the above. So you've got all these possible commands. Some Jarvis understands better than others. What makes these commands really cool is that you can put them into different recipes. Recipes are great because they have the commands in the order for which you would use them. So write a content brief about the topic, then a title, then write an outline, and then write information and a conclusion, and so on. So by having this recipe in order, it makes it a lot easier to basically create content right away with Jarvis. You don't have to wait to learn everything. You just open a recipe and start in. I'm going to go through and show Jarvis in action, doing just what we talked about. So just for fun, I put in a little brief. It says how to take photos like Peter McKinnon. Let's see what Jarvis says. Words. This article about how he takes photos in daily basis, what his process is like from concept to completion. Okay, let's see what happens. So we're gonna just go ahead. Now we're gonna go ahead and write 5 compelling titles from this. Okay, and I do Command Enter, and it's just off a recipe. 2 stories told in pictures, out of reach. Not sure on these. So one thing that sometimes if you don't get a good title, what you can do is you do this power mode, and you can go over, let's say, video titles, and you say how to take pictures like Peter McKinnon. Oh, you could go through and decide on a lot of different titles. Kind of like this one. So I'm going to go ahead and take that one. So that's one thing you can do. Sometimes Jarvis, I don't know. Sometimes, Jarvis does have its limitations and it's not always going to be perfect. So when you play around with the different modes, the power mode and then here, you can usually get what you want. So now we're going to do a problem agitate solution. And so we'll go ahead based on the title above. Let's see what happens with Jarvis. Now that's somewhat compelling right here, this last part. I have to say, I don't think the problem, this isn't really a problem. This is just a statement. And this agitate, doesn't really agitate at all from any sort of problem. So again, I do think it's one of those things where you kind of have to play with it. And sometimes Jarvis does better if you input some content, like write a paragraph and then have Jarvis go off of that. Because Jarvis gets an idea of what you like. So you're almost better writing a little bit and then having Jarvis do a little bit, and then you do a little bit, and then Jarvis does a little bit. There's also this cool feature you can use where it says explain it to a 5th grader. Let's see what happens when it does that. Yeah, this post will show you how to take photos like Peter McKinnon. It is a guide for people without training. You can use your phone or DSLR camera. See, I kind of like that. It changed that whole solution to be a little more focused. Now, it doesn't always work. But again, it's one of those tools where you play with both modes, the focus mode and the power mode. There's a lot of different recipe templates you can go off of. And what's cool is these recipes have you using Jarvis right away without having to really learn a whole lot. Definitely sign up for the free trial below, because you can actually, with the recipes, you can actually create 5 blog posts for free. Think about what that can do for your site, and you have content for a certain length of time. Now, I definitely think you should stick with Jarvis for at least a full month, because in 1 month, you can write a book, you can create all the content you need with videos, with blog posts, all your social media done way ahead of time. So you could just do Jarvis for 30 days even, and be able to get, potentially a year's worth of content all done for you in that 30 days. It's actually very cost effective. So highly recommend that you sign up for Jarvis. Down below, there's a link. And if you're already a Jarvis user, definitely start using recipes. The power of them is amazing. And I highly encourage you to create your own, because when you do, other users, if it's good, other users see it, and you start to get a following, and they get introduced into your world that way. So I definitely highly recommend checking out Jarvis and start using right away to create content much faster than you would if you did it by yourself. If this video is helpful, be sure to give it a like. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you next time.